Hello and welcome. This video we're taking a look at the Pioneer class and we'll be using the original series skin for it. We'll be looking at the Vanity shields available from the Dilithium store during certain events of the year and also from the Zen store. As always, the chapters are in the description down below along with several other links that I'll cover off at the end of the video. And at the time of recording in March 2025, Spencer, aka CasualSab, his mum had an operation recently, as he details in his GoFundMe page, and he's looking for any help anybody can give for his mum to help cover the costs associated. Spencer's done quite a lot for the STO community, and he's done quite a bit for me as well. Especially since I've started up this channel. So if you're able to, as the Americans say, throw a couple of bucks in, even the price of a cup of coffee, all will help him out, and he's certainly deserving of it. Now that being said, let's get on to the video. So the first shield we'll take a look at is the Alliance Vanity Shield from the Khitomer Alliance bundle in the Zen store. That bundle contains the shield, the Khitomer Alliance uniform and an upgrade, and this is currently the only shield available in the Zen store. So we have a white hull material that's got some grey shading and some gold shading to it. The deflector array is that patterned cyan effect, which is quite nice. As I've said in the intro, we've got the animation effect there on the nacelles, so the Bassard collectors won't change. We can also see that red stripe effect as well, going around the lower hull. Then to look at the rear, we have the impulse engines with the red, orange, yellow, white, and then back again. We see cyan lighting effect there on the dome and just above the shuttle bay, as well as on top of the bridge module. Then we've got the cyan lighting there for the nacelles, and the gold shading at the rear. Then more cyan lighting there at the rear deflector. Then as we look down, we see more of that red striping effect on the back of the saucer and on the nacelles. Then the underside, again, touch more of the grey shading, a bit more of the red striping there as well. Moving on to the Dilithium store now. This is a Safe Galaxy Refit Vanity Shield. We've got the two-tone grey patterned hull material there, almost like an urban camouflage effect. We have this very bright yellow, almost golden deflector array effect there. Same there at the rear deflector, and then we've got some golden impulse engines there. Slightly golden on the nacelles, and then the lighter yellow there above the shuttle bay and on the two domes. As we look at the underside, again, more of that pattern effect of the hull material. Next up is our very popular shield in the game. This is the Baul Vanity Shield. Got the black hull material. And we've got this pattern cyan effect here on the deflector with the two illuminated rings. Got the cyan lighting there at the torpedo launchers. The cyan pattern effect there on the rear deflector. Then we have the lovely red impulse engines and more of that cyan lighting just above the shuttle bay and on the two domes. Now the nacelles have a white colouring to them, and that should actually be the cyan blue, so I'm not sure what's went wrong there. Then as I look down, we can see that etched pattern effect there on the hull material, and we're also seeing that red stripe really stand out nicely against the dark hull material. And then as we move on to the underside, again, more of that etched pattern design there, and again, those red lines and boxes standing out really nicely against that hull material. Here we have the Borg Vanity shield. So this gives your vessel the look of a liberated Borg vessel. They really do need to change the shield name in the game just to avoid any confusion. So we've got a grey hull material with a pattern effect made up of various shapes and sizes of the hull plating. But it's a lovely blue patterned deflector array there. And got the blue there on the impulse engines and the nacelles. The blue lighting just above the shuttle bay door and on the two domes on the top of the ship there. And more of that blue pattern effect on the rear deflector. And then as you can see at the back of the nacelles there, we have this conduit material with blue lighting effects. And you see the full extent of that pattern effect right throughout the hull material. And the same here on the underside. Next up is the Courier Raider Vanity Shield. So I've got this very light grey hull material. It's almost got a brushed steel kind of look to it, depending on the lighting. With a very bright white deflector array there. See the black shading there around the impulse engines. And we have the white lighting there on the impulse engines, on the domes on the top as well, and above the shuttle bay doors. And also white for the nacelles there. So down you can see the pattern effect of the hull material. Touch of the black shading there on the pylons and at the rear fins of the nacelles. And the same there with the hull material pattern on the underside. Here we have the Discovery Vanity Shield. So this shield has two different visual appearances depending on the faction alignment. We'll take a look at the Federation aligned first and then look at the Klingon aligned. So for Federation aligned you get the appearance of Starfleet vessels in Season 1 of Discovery. We have a two-tone patterned grey hull material. And we've got this white with blue spoke effect for the deflector. As we move around you can see the pattern effect on the hull material. Then we have the red honeycomb there for the impulse engines, with that blue effect there with the white for the rear deflector. Then we have this pattern blue on the domes there, along with the blue lighting just above the shuttle bay. Then we've got this honeycomb pattern on the nacelles that appears to be predominantly white with a very touch of blue. Normally on this shield the nacelles are blue with a touch of white. As we look down we can see the extent of that pattern effect and the different shading for the hull material. And then we're the same here on the underside. And here we have the Discovery Vanity Shield on a Klingon line character. You can see here we've got this brown patterned hull material. We can see the deflector pattern there with the orange, yellow and white. There's some green lighting there at the torpedo launcher. Let's look at the back here. We've got the light yellow patterned impulse engines at the back of the saucer. Then we've got another bit of light yellow lighting here at the rear deflector. Then let's look at the nacelles. Got the red and white there, and you see a bit of the pulsating effect. And normally on this shield that nacelle would be a orange, yellow and white. That's more of the facade collector effect there on the nacelles for this shield. So that lovely yellow dot on the bottom of the ship there, and then just more of that brown pattern material on the underside. Here we have the Discovery Refit Vanity Shield. So it's a darker shades of grey, again with a couple of different shades there. We have this blue pattern effect there, which is just got a touch of purple to it, along with the grey on the centre part of the deflector array. Again, retaining the red impulse engines there. The domes and the light above the shuttle bay are more white with a touch of blue. The same there for the nacelles. As we look down, we see that pattern effect to the hull material with the different shades of grey, especially towards the rear of the nacelles. And we've got more of that pattern two-tone grey effect there on the underside. And here we have the Emerald Chain Vanity Shield. We've got that brown patterned hull material. See the grey and white effect there on the deflector array. Got the very light yellow, almost white effect there for the impulse engines. Same there on the nacelles with that honeycomb pattern to them. Then we've got the rear deflector, which is just mirroring the front deflector pattern there. As we look down, with the similar lighting effect there on the domes, and then you see the pattern effect there on the hull material, and the different shading there at the rear of the nacelles. And we've got more of the pattern effect to the hull material there on the underside. And here we have the Emperor's Vanity Shield. We've got this grey hull material and this very deep yellow on top of the bridge dome there. We have the orange on the torpedo launchers and this illuminated orange deflector array with quite a nice pattern to it. As we rotate round, you'll see that blue illuminated dots there. So that's throughout the hull material and it gives a starfield effect to it. And we've got the cyan lighting there for the impulse engines. More of that deep yellow there just above the shuttle bay and on the rear dome. Got the orange pattern again there on the rear deflector. And then we've got orange for the nacelle cowring, and that should be more of a yellow effect to it. So So again, don't know what's awry there. And to look down, you can faintly make out the blue illuminated dots with the smooth hull material. And as we move round, I'll halt in the shade there so you can see that blue illuminated dot effect to the material. And then we've just got more of that grey shading for the hull material there on the underside. And here we have the Ferengi Vanity Shield. We've got this orange hull material to give the look of the Ferengi vessels we see in the TV shows. This deep yellow honeycomb pattern there in the centre of the deflector with the grey surround. We've got that deep yellow lighting there on the torpedo launchers as well. Let's rotate around, you can see some of the rivet effect to the hull material. And we've got the deep yellow there on the impulse engines. Same there on the rear deflector. Then we have the lighter yellow just above the shuttle bay and on the rear dome and on the nacelles as well. And as we look down, we see some gold shading there at the rear of the nacelles and on the pylons as well. Get a better view of that rivet effect just around the centre part of the saucer section. And again there around the outer edge of the saucer. And then the same here on the underside. Here we have the Hur'q Vanity Shield. So I've got the green hull material with that brownish purple shading effect to it around the outer parts of the saucer. Got the green dome on the bridge there. That's green patterned deflector array and the green there at the torpedo launcher. You also see some of the illuminated green pattern there as we rotate round, especially at the nacelles. The same green pattern there on the rear deflector. Got the illuminated green pattern there on the shuttle bay doors. Green pattern effect there for the impulse engines. And the same green there on the illumination above the shuttle bay and on the rear dome. Then we have green there on the nacelle. That illuminated green pattern there at the rear. Then we see that shading effect giving that pattern look on the nacelles and down the rear of the saucer. And the same here on the underside. This is the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. So, like the Discovery one, it does have two different visual appearances. We'll take a look at the Federation aligned first and then move on to Klingon aligned. So we've got the grey patterned hull material with this lovely blue patterned deflector, which is the look of the Enterprise's deflector in the reboot films. As we move around, we've got that orange pattern effect there on the impulse engines. Then we can also see the blue and white light above the shuttle bay, and same on the dome at the rear there. Then we've got this unusual pattern effect on the nacelles with the blue and white. So that should have been more of a fill colour with blue and a touch of white to it for this shield. Then we see the pattern effect to the hull material as we look down. Same here on the underside. my personal opinion, this is how the reboot film ships should have looked rather than what we actually got, but that's a rant for another time. Here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield on a Klingon character. So we've got various shades of green for the hull material. Got that lovely red patterned deflector array there at the front. Then we've got the red honeycomb pattern there for the impulse engines. Then we see some of this blue pattern there on the dome at the rear, just above the shuttle bay and on the bridge dome. Now the nacelles on this one aren't correct either. You can see the red and yellow there with a black grate effect. So that should actually be a blue and grey hexagon pattern to them. I'm not sure what's went wrong there. Then we can see the rear deflector there with the same red pattern to it as the main one. And just more of the green hull material on the underside. Next up, we're looking at the Prodigy Vanity Shield. Got this lovely grey hull material. This very bright orange and white, almost a flower pattern there on the deflector. Got the same effect there on the rear deflector. Now I've got the red on the impulse engines there. Got the blue illumination just above the shuttle bay door and on the rear dome as well. Then we've got again this blue and white pattern effect there on the nacelle, which isn't the one from this shield. And as we look down, we've got more of that blue and white pattern there on the bridge dome. And then we can see the pattern effect of the hull material there from the top, especially at the rear of the nacelles there. And the same here on the underside. Another popular shield in the game is the Section 31 Vanity Shield. We've got the dark grey and a lighter shading grey there for the hull material. And you see that pattern within the material there on the saucer. This lovely pattern cyan effect there on the deflector array. Got the bright red impulse engines there. Some more of that bright cyan lighting at the bottom of the shuttle bay as well as the top of the shuttle bay doors and on the rear dome. Then nacelles are blacked out, which isn't correct for this shield. That's the bizarre collector effect there, so the nacelles should be the same bright cyan blue in this one. That cyan blue pattern there on the rear deflector also. As we look down, we can see the stripe pattern there at the back of the nacelles. More of that pattern effect and the various shades to the hull material. And the same here on the underside. And those red lines do stand out quite nicely against the darker hull material. Next up, we're looking at the Shrike Vanity Shield. So we have this reddish orange hull material with a very deep, almost burgundy colour as well. That's a very bright deflector array there with touches of orange and white to it. You see that orange and red pattern there to the deflectors. We've got the orange lighting there at the top of the shuttle bay and on the rear dome. And we've got this orange and white effect for the nacelles, which again is not the right effect for this one. We have this very light yellow and red, almost target pattern there. You can see it a bit clearer on the rear deflector. There's some touches of grey there in the material also. Especially as I look down, we can see it on the fins and at the rear of the nacelles. And touch more of that burgundy shading along with that reddish orange hull material there on the underside. Next up, we are looking at the Tzenkethi Vanity Shield. So we can see this carved pattern on that green hull material. We've got some grey shading there as well. Got the white illumination on the bridge dome. And then we've got the orange torpedo launcher, and just above we can see that light panelling material, and you can see some of it pulsating there. We've got this lovely orange deflector array. See some more of that panel illumination with the pulsating effects as we rotate round. Same there on the shuttle bay doors. That lovely orange deflector pattern there in the rear. Got the white there for the impulse engines, the light above the shuttle bay and the rear dome as well. Then we've got this warm orange effect on the nacelles, which should be white for this shield. And as we look down, again some more of that pulsating illumination on the fins of the nacelles. More of that carved pattern detail there as well, and some black shading on the back of the nacelles. Now on the underside, more of the green and grey and more of that carved pattern as well. Then we come to the last shield available in the Dilithium store, and this is the Zhat Vash Vanity Shield. So we've got an olive green and sandy brown two-tone hull material there. That's a lovely green illuminated deflector array, and the green illumination there on the torpedo launchers. And we've got the same green effect there on the rear deflector. Red there for the impulse engines. And we've got the green illumination above the shuttle bay and on the rear dome. Then we've got red for the nacelles, which should be green on this shield. And as we look down, we can see that pattern effect to the hull material. As I always say, with the colours, it always puts me in mind of a army camouflage kind of effect. Then we're the same here on the underside. And that concludes the look at the Pioneer. I really do like this ship model, and I think it's quite a nice design. I'm just unfortunate with a couple of bits of the shield visuals not lining up correctly on it. But all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed doing the video. Hope you enjoyed it as well. In the description down below, you'll find my usual social media links for X and Blue Sky, my real merch affiliate code. Just been told that these are one-time only codes, and it's 5% off your order. So several of the other content creators have their own codes as well. So if you've used them already, feel free to give mine a try. I've also got links to the STO wiki and the main Star Trek Online news blog. And the content creators listed there is CasualSab, aka Spencer, who I covered at the beginning of the video. His YouTube and Twitch channels are there, plus his GoFundMe page is linked in the description there as well. I've also got Nick NB, and he's been extremely helpful to me as well. His YouTube and Twitch is there, and same with MC Stu. So if you haven't checked them out, make sure you do so. Drop me a subscription, hit the like buttons, And until the next video or the next live stream, thank you all very much for watching.